Hey YouTube, what is going on? My name is JC and this is the Cuban Redneck DIY channel where we do cooking and grilling on Tuesdays and DIY stuff on Fridays. I've been slacking on the Friday video because the weather hasn't been cooperating. This is your first time here, please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. And by any remote chance you landed on my kitchen looking for a DIY project, do me a favor, click on the title where you will find multiple playlists dedicated to everything DIY. The same thing goes for recipes. There's a dedicated playlist for all of the recipes on the channel. In today's video, we're going to be making a meatloaf. Not necessarily a classic American meatloaf recipe, since we're going to substitute a lot of things, but definitely one that you may want to try it. And please, before you knock it, try it, because this is one you're going to be wanting to make again and again. So what is so different about the recipe? Well, first of all, let's talk about the meatloaf itself. When I came to this country, a lot of people were telling me that this is an American dish, and it is not. The meatloaf was brought to the Americas by Dutch and German immigrants during the 18th century, during colonial times, and it is basically a spin-off on a very popular German dish called scrapple, which is a loaf made with pork and cornmeal. I guess it has evolved and to what we know it today. Actually, the evolution got really accelerated during the 70s and 80s, where TV dinners became very popular. So what is so different about my recipe? Well, for one, I'm not going to be using 100% beef. I believe in red beef, don't get me wrong. But as you get older, as I am, and you start feeling lazy and slow after you have, a good chunk of meatloaf or a big burger or steak, that means that your body is not processing red meat very efficiently. So one of the easiest ways to get around that is to do a 50-50 mix of pork and ground beef. Another thing we're going to be doing is limiting the amount of gluten, or actually making it gluten-free, by replacing the breadcrumbs with oatmeal. That is you won't even know the difference, and it's actually much better for you. Another thing I'm going to be changing is not going to be using any milk. I don't understand why there are so many people looking for meatloaf recipe without milk, where you can buy, if you're lactose intolerant, you can always get lactose-free milk. But anyways, I'm not going to be using milk at all, so I guess it's going to be lactose-free as well. Check this out. To make this meatloaf recipe with oatmeal, we are going to need a pound of ground pork and a pound of ground beef. I'm using this grass-fed variety from Aldi's, but Walmart, Target, Publix, and other supermarkets have them as well. We're also going to need 1 medium onion, 4 cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of cumin, 1 pack of Lipton onion soup, 1 tablespoon of oil, 1 tablespoon of butter, 2 large eggs, 1 cup of oatmeal, and a half a cup of beef broth. By the way, you can also add a half a cup of parsley, but that's 100% optional. For the meatloaf glaze, we're going to need 3/4 cup of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of white vinegar, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of black pepper, and a half a teaspoon of salt. Please note that all of these ingredients will be available on the blog at CubanRedneck.com as always. For the yolks, I'm using 1 cup of Better Oaks Organic Blend. This brand has a tendency of being a little bit chunky, so I will be making it finer in my mini chopper. To this, I will be adding a half a cup of beef broth and 1 tablespoon of oregano. Mix everything together and set it aside. We are then going to move back to the cutting board and start working on the onion and the garlic. This onion is a little bit large, but I have a drawer full of them and it's either use it or lose it. If you use too much onion, you end up with a meatloaf that is a little bit loose, but that is okay with me. After bringing 1 tablespoon of oil and 1 tablespoon of butter to temperature, I'm going to cook this for about 5 to 6 minutes on the medium heat. We're also going to season this with 1 tablespoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of cumin. After 5 or 6 minutes, they're going to start looking like this, at which time we're going to take it off the heat and set it aside. After about 15 minutes, our onions are now cool and the oatmeal has soaked all the beef broth. That means we can get started with the ground beef and the pork. Deposit the 2 packs into a large mixing bowl. Add a tablespoon of salt, a tablespoon of black pepper, and work the meat while making sure to combine the 2 types into one uniform color. We're then going to incorporate the Lipton soup mix pack, followed by the oatmeals, our 2 beating eggs, and the onion garlic mix. Mix it all together in a motion like if you were kneading dough. We can now form the meatloaf, and to do this, I like to deposit the mixture into a 9x5 loaf mold. Press it down and put it in the fridge for about 4 to 5 minutes while I make the glaze. For the meatloaf glaze, we're going to need 3/4 cup of ketchup, and as you can see, I was trying to be all fancy for the camera with the measuring cup and all, but it didn't work too well. Eyeballing this would work just fine. To this, we'll add 2 tablespoons of white vinegar and the dry ingredients, consisting of 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of ground pepper, and a half a teaspoon of salt. Mix it all together and set it aside. Bring the meatloaf out of the fridge, spray a large baking pan or cooking sheet with cooking spray, flip the mold, define the shape as desired. The cavities you see here is because I did not press the loaf into the mold hard enough, ending up in voids. No issue, this is very easy to fix. Once you're satisfied with the shape, pour your glaze over and paint it. I try to get fancy for the camera once again by adding a little bit of pasta sauce diluted in water as a basing liquid. That was not a good idea and I suggest avoiding it. Okay, let's put our meatloaf in a preheated 325-degree oven for 65 minutes, at which time we are going to check for an internal temperature of 155. The last 4 or 5 I have made using this recipe have been perfect at the 65-minute mark. Once we take it out, we need to let it rest for about 10 minutes. And that is it. I hope you tried my meatloaf recipe with oatmeal, and I thank you for watching. Please support this channel by subscribing, liking, and sharing. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. Thank you.